Saw dudes. If you noticed, I haven't posted much Destiny 2 content recently. I actually tried to create a build video, but I realized that I covered a lot in my 143 videos dedicated to the game, essentially exhausting all my options. I don't want to come across as an overly pessimistic person, but Destiny 2 is not getting any better and I wanted to address my concerns and why I haven't made content for it. This video is off the cuff, so these are just my thoughts put on paper as fast as possible. If you have questions or want to discuss, please leave a comment. Let's get started. I first want to address the lack of content and innovation. Yes, I am aware of the skimmer vehicle that is coming to the game, but that doesn't really do much. It doesn't influence gameplay meaningfully and doesn't add real fun factor. A lot of these feelings stem from the Destiny content vault and can honestly cover the whole video, but I digress. Personally, I feel that the Season of the Wish content was severely disappointing. At the start of the season, you were sent off to retrieve one of Riven's eggs. This was a seasonal story mission, but was essentially the coil without teammates and rehashed dialogue. Nothing about the mission was new or innovative, it was just a bunch of reused assets. Which is a perfect segue to my next point. A lot of weapons are just old weapon models with new colors or reskins. Sure, they have new perks, but it's not really that interesting. I would like to see new weapon models, or even new enemies, or even some lesser seen enemies used more, like Briggs. I was actually talking to some clan members today, and we were talking about how Gambit is essentially on life support. After the Drifter was brought in as a narrative piece, Gambit got no love. He's just there, sitting in the tower once again. Same with some enemy types. The Brig was introduced in Scourge of the Past, and it has made its way into some Grandmaster Nightfalls, but other than that, I don't really see them outside of Europa. It's just disappointing to have new content, but then have it underutilized and have old content that is just constantly recycled. And like any looter shooter, Destiny 2 is a grindy game. If you've played the game for any amount of time, you'll know that it takes quite a while to get where you want to be. Even then, the game doesn't seem like it respects your time. In other words, it feels like an unrewarding time sink. Getting optimized armor sets takes ages, considering that there are exotic armor pieces that need to be at the right stats for the right builds. Then there's artifice armor that needs to be farmed to get the highest stat values possible. When we take a look at weapons, it's the same story. For craftable weapons, you have to get red borders, but the drop rates are low besides the guaranteed ones for initial weekly runs. If you are farming a weapon that cannot be crafted, then you are at the mercy of RNG. On a personal note, I believe that a lot of people still play Destiny for one reason. That being that they feel obligated to play given the time and money they already spent. It's almost like a job that you dread, but you still keep going because of how much you have invested in it. I'm saying this because that's the way I felt. I feel that way because I initially based my channel around Destiny 2 content. I literally have been dreading creating content for the game because there is almost nothing to do. Almost everything has been exhausted, and I'm trying to search for ideas, but it's like stabbing in the dark. There's also the massive issue of build diversity. Before the launch of Lightfall, old armor mods were removed, which slashed the build experimentation part of the game. I enjoy creating loadouts for all the games that I play, but it doesn't seem like there's many choices in Destiny 2. This is partially due to the lackluster exotics that still need updates, and the obvious void that the old mods left behind. Builds have been shoehorned into very cut and dry combos. It also doesn't help that many of the mechanics that have been broken are only now getting fixed, with a major example being the restoration bug with Ember of Empyrean and Fire Sprites on solar subclasses. There's also the issue of seasonal mods, which to be honest isn't actually a really big problem. My biggest problem is that they don't stick around. I don't like playing with items that will be leaving since it will gut the builds that I create. I realize that this sounds entirely ridiculous, but that's the way I play. For those of you who like the seasonal mod model, this isn't really on your mind. I would like for some of the mods to stick around and be usable all the time, but in a slightly toned down manner. This way there could be more options available to players. Finally, let's talk about the lack of attention to Crucible. Before creating Destiny 2 content, I was a Crucible tryhard. Back when Forsaken launched, I managed to obtain Luna's Howl via a long, grueling questline. However, the gun has since been gutted and is now a shadow of its former self. Competitive rewards in PvP are just worthless, and the lack of balance in PvP has done damage beyond repair. I cannot bring myself into PvP without just taking shots. It's just that bad. I am aware that Crucible is getting more rewards added, like Artifice Armor and Focusing, but that could have been addressed a long time ago. Additionally, I feel that weapons such as Luna's Howl and Not Forgotten could have a place in today's sandbox, given that hand cannons as a whole had their range reduced significantly. After taking a look at this TTK chart, I think they could make a great comeback. They required skill to use and rewarded hard-working players. The only thing I would take away from them was their innate ability to two-tap players. Again, this relates back to respecting player time and investment. Nerfing them into the ground was not the move. I understand sunsetting had to happen, but I do think there could have been a more elegant solution. To round out this video, I want to discuss one thing: respecting the player. Investing time in a game should feel rewarding, and that isn't currently happening with Destiny 2. Bungie does not respect your time, but it's still valuable to them for their metrics. They use every trick in the book to keep players addicted while doing the bare minimum for player enjoyment. I really want to love this game again. I came from Warframe and Anthem, and both have their own issues. However, playing Destiny 2 for me feels like a chore. I log in, check the Eververse store for Bright Dust items, and then log off. No content is engaging for me, and it seems to be the case for thousands of other people. At the moment, the player count on SteamDB is lower than when Curse of Osiris released. That metric says a lot about the health of the game, and it's not good. I hope you guys understand that I'm by no means trying to prey on the downfall of Destiny 2. This is just me communicating why I really can't find any content to make on the game. I want it to improve, and I hope it does. As always, thank you all for watching, and happy farming.